The syllabus is kind of the law of the land, so to speak, and is an incredibly important document in this course. There will be oftentimes I'll say, hey, go check the syllabus, because I try to put every single piece of information I could think of into it. This will also be your guide through the course. So if you're ever lost on what you should be doing, there's a full schedule so they can keep track of what's going on. Now, obviously, you can read this on your own, but I really wanted to touch on just some different details here and there to offer explanations and to clarify any questions that you may have. So first thing, this is entirely online. You will not need to come to campus to take any tests, to do any projects, etc. This can all be done from home. I know some online classes require you to come to a testing center. We will not do that in this class. Here you can read the course description, and here is my information. This has my email address. When emailing me, you do need to email me from your MC email. This is a college-wide policy. If you ever want to come visit me in my office, here's my office hours, and you can contact me by phone anytime. This is my office phone, and even if I don't answer, definitely leave a voicemail. Course materials. This class does not have a textbook. I may refer to other materials which you'll find in the PowerPoint notes, but there is no textbook that you need to get. However, this is an online class. You need to have computer access. You need to have internet access. Failing to get to internet or computer is not an excuse. So just keep that in mind. And also a reliable internet access. If your internet drops often, either consider not taking this class or consider especially taking tests not like with that internet connection. There will be different assignments this semester that require you to either take pictures or take videos. So you need some sort of device to do that. It can be your cell phone, it can be a digital camera, it can be a webcam on your laptop or your computer. It doesn't matter, but I'm letting you know now there will be pictures and videos involved. So make sure that you have the tools to do that. And then finally, you'll need a four-function calculator. We do a couple calculations, not many, but a couple. Yes, there's a calculator on your computer, but when it comes to the tests and quizzes, they will be timed, and having an actual calculator in front of you will make it a little bit easier. Here you can read the course outcomes. The course assessment. What am I grading you on? What are you doing in this class? This class has 5 units, and at the end of each unit there is a big quiz, as I've called it. A test would be a little bit longer, a quiz would be a little bit shorter, so I've come up with this big quiz. Each quiz will be 35 minutes long, and it's just going to cover the material from that unit. So units are only 2 to 3 weeks long. I made them shorter so that hopefully the quizzes in this class aren't overlapping too much with your other classes. The makeup policy for this, if you do not complete a quiz, if you somehow completely forget about it, you can't make it up at all. There is no makeups for quizzes. However, if you forget about it, which happens, at the end of the semester, your lowest quiz grade is dropped. So that quiz that you missed, you got a 0, but that 0 gets dropped. So it's kind of built in for accidents. Also, if you did really, really bad on one, that could also be the one dropped. This will actually relate to the final. The final at the end of the semester is also a big quiz. And the final, if you're happy with your score in the class, your final, you can choose not to take it, take a 0, and not have your grade hurt because that 0 gets dropped. We'll talk about that more at the end of the semester though. So each unit, big quiz. Throughout the semester, there are 8 different discussion boards. If you've taken an online course, more than likely you're not a huge fan of discussion boards, but I promise you these will be so much better. I read through the feedback from students last semester and they actually really enjoyed these. 4 of those 8 discussion boards are action boards. We're going to learn about stuff in class, and yeah, we can learn about it, but I want you to go do it. So 4 of those boards are based on an environmental action you'll take. The other 4 boards are research-based boards, just something about environmental biology that maybe we don't get a lot of a big chance to talk about in the course. For these, The makeup policy is there'll be a deadline, and I actually grade very, very fast. If you've read any reviews or talked to other students, I'm a very fast grader. But because of that, I need to have grades in ASAP. I need to have everyone's work. So let's say you turn it in Thursday, 3 p.m. and I don't start grading until Friday, 8 a.m. You have until that deadline to whenever I start grading, or really whenever I finish grading. Let's say I finish grading the entire class by Friday at 9 a.m. If I don't have your work, it's a 0. But let's say, oh, well, I turned it in Thursday at midnight. You turned it in late, but I didn't finish grading everyone's yet. So you kind of bought yourself some extra time. But there's still a penalty for that. There's a 20% late deduction, which is 2 letter grades. So turn your stuff in on time. I release things in the course weeks and weeks ahead of time. So there's really no excuse to turn something in late. There will be 2 class projects in this class. One class project is an environmental controversy paper, which we'll kind of start the class with, so you'll hear about that more in the next couple weeks. It's a research paper and presentation about something that's controversial about the environment, whether it's talking about GMOs, whether it's talking about nuclear power, etc. The other assignment is a public service announcement, so making a video. That'll be at the end of the semester, and I know you're going to dread it, and everyone says they dread it, but I promise you a lot of students said it ended up being a lot of fun, so don't worry about it too much now, just know that is coming. And then finally, nearly every week there will be a quick quiz that kind of helps reinforce the material that you learned for that week. You can take it twice. They're only worth 5 points, and at the end of the semester, the lowest one is dropped. In this class, I do kind of grade on a curve. If you have an 89.5 or higher, it will get rounded up to an A, and same with all the other grades. This is all that important information for, how to access Blackboard and technical support and disability services, etc. And then finally, the class schedule. Although this says it's tentative, hopefully this is pretty close to what it's going to actually look like. I try not to make too many changes to it. So I highly recommend printing out this course schedule. Something that you'll notice about this schedule is the weeks you would typically think run Sunday to Saturday. However, they don't. A typical week runs Friday to Thursday. And all of the deadlines in the class are Thursday at 3 o'clock p.m. Thursday at 3 o'clock p.m. is when I leave campus and go to a class that I'm actually taking at Montgomery College as well. Fridays I have off. Fridays are my grading days. So I have everything turned in Thursday before I leave, and Friday first thing I start grading. So that's kind of why I have this Friday to Thursday work week. And you may think, well, I like to get my stuff done on the weekends. You still can. Everything will be made available to you starting on this Friday. So if you like to work on the weekends, you still can. You just work on it a little bit earlier. If you don't like working on the weekends, you don't have to. You can just work on it during the week. But just keep in mind, Thursday at 3 o'clock p.m. is like your golden time. Post that somewhere, bright, frilly letters, stars, hearts, smiley faces. That is the deadline pretty much for every single thing in this course. I actually can't think of, maybe like the final exam and like one assignment is due not at Thursday at 5 o'clock p.m. So keep that in mind. This tells you when those big quizzes are open. It tells you about the little quick quizzes. It tells you about assignments. So use this, refer to this. A lot of this material is available in the course calendar as well on the Blackboard site, which I'll talk about more in another video. So if you have any questions, definitely ask me in the Bio Cafe, ask your fellow students, and make sure you really understand the course policies. If you have any questions, please just let me know.